When you first start learning economics, you hear the beckoning call of some classic economics books. The loudest call comes from Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations. But should you listen to these calls? I think you shouldn't prioritize reading classic economics books, and I'm going to tell you what you should be doing instead. But first, let me address who would benefit from reading the classics. Obviously, if you're interested in the history of economic thought, you should read Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations. Along with that, you would want to read Alfred Marshall's Principles of Economics, Karl Marx's Das Kapital, lots of other books that are in the history of economic thought. It's kind of like if you were interested in the history of scientific thought, you would want to read Newton's Principia or Darwin's Origin of the Species. But this analogy to the history of scientific thought really highlights why you shouldn't make it a priority. Let's think about Darwin. Darwin changed the world with his theory of evolution and natural selection. But he didn't understand how traits were passed from parents to children. He came up with a theory, but that theory was wrong. He didn't understand genetics. Similarly, Adam Smith had many important insights on economics. He discussed the division of labor and how the price mechanism helps the market organize itself without a central planner. I love Adam Smith. This quote up here is from The Wealth of Nations. But like Darwin, he didn't get everything right. One that sticks out to me is his theory of value. The value of any commodity to the person who possesses it and wishes to exchange it is equal to the quantity of labor which it enables him to purchase or command. Labor, therefore, is the real measure of the exchangeable value of all commodities. Adam Smith tries to refine this idea a little bit more, but the fundamental concept that value is measured by labor just isn't right. Labor is the last thing on the mind of someone who is spending $100,000 on a chicken nugget shaped like an Among Us character. Like with evolution and genetics, we understand economic ideas better than when we did in Adam Smith's time. You should benefit from that 250 years of progress. So what should you read instead? I imagine that if you're interested in diving into The Wealth of Nations, it's because you want to develop your economic thinking. You want to get a better foundation. Your textbook was great, but you want to go deeper. Well, the most underrated resource in learning economics is the Journal of Economic Perspectives. This journal gets experts to write about topics that are relevant today. Earlier this year, there was an issue with 3 articles on the minimum wage about what we understand about it today, different policies that are being proposed, and non-employment effects of the minimum wage. In that same issue, there was an article about the wealth tax, which is a huge policy debate today. The Journal of Economic Perspectives has been publishing work like this since 1987. And the best part is it's all available online for free. If you're interested in learning about economics, you should go through it and explore the archives for articles that are interesting to you. You'll find a combination of theory and empirics that gives you the most up-to-date understanding of that topic. And at the end of every issue is just a list of interesting talks and articles that you can look up in other publications. Without a doubt, the Journal of Economic Perspectives is the most underrated resource for learning more about economics. And if you're interested in reading books about economics, you should check out this playlist here, which gives my recommendations and reviews.